disease affecting over 70,000 people worldwide: asthma, bronchitis, sinusitis, and hypertension. What is it, you may ask? Well, it's called cystic fibrosis, and we're here to tell you all about it.
Our disease is called cystic fibrosis.
Cystic fibrosis is a mutation in an individual's DNA. The protein called CFTR, or cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator, works as a channel across the membrane cells. It produces sweat, saliva, tears, and other digestive enzymes that make it easier for us to digest foods.
Cystic fibrosis is caused when mutations occur in the CFTR gene and the gene is unable to do its job. A mucus clogs all digestive systems, causing digestive enzymes to have trouble getting into the intestine.
Cystic fibrosis majorly affects the pancreas, causing a large intolerance to most carbohydrates, along with others such as respiratory glands, digestive system, reproductive system, and sweat glands.
Let's look at the mutation that happens that results in cystic fibrosis.
An individual who has cystic fibrosis contains a mutation in chromosome number 7.
The type mutation is called deletion. It deletes 3 nucleotides that results in a loss of the amino acid called phenylalanine, or F, at the 508th position of the protein.
When protein synthesis occurs, this causes the amino acid sequence to change.
This alters the shape of the CFTR protein. Without the CFTR protein working properly, you get the types of symptoms associated with cystic fibrosis.
The CF gene directly affects the epithelial cells, which produces the protein CFTR. These cells are found in the lungs, digestive tract, and sweat glands.
When the CFTR protein isn't functioning, the epithelial cells won't be able to pass through the sodium chloride that passes through the membrane,
thus disrupting the balance of salt levels and water levels that are used to keep a normal coating of mucus in the lungs, making it thicker.
To gain a better understanding on how this happens, let's first look at how proteins are made.
Protein synthesis is a process where proteins are made. The first step of protein synthesis is called transcription, which occurs in the nucleus. When transcription happens, a copy of a small section of DNA is used to code for the protein needed to get from the nucleus to the ribosomes in the cytoplasm. The next step of protein synthesis is called translation, which occurs in the cytoplasm. Translation is the process during protein synthesis that uses transfer RNA, or tRNA. The tRNA binds to a start codon and it signals the ribosome to assemble in a process known as initiation. The transfer RNA will then bring in amino acids during a process called elongation, and once the stop codon is reached, the protein will be released and will disassemble in a process called termination. Now let's talk about the genetic side of cystic fibrosis and how cystic fibrosis is passed on.
People who contain this gene but is masked by the dominant allele are known as carriers. This means the trait for this disease is recessive. They are not affected by the disease but are able to pass it down to their kids. If 2 carriers have a child, there are multiple possibilities of them inheriting or carrying the disease. 1 in 4 of the children will have cystic fibrosis. 1 in 2 of the children will be a carrier but will not have cystic fibrosis. And 1 in 4 of the children will not be a carrier and will not have cystic fibrosis. Along with this, in order for a child, most likely a 4, to have cystic fibrosis, both of the parents must be a carrier of the trait.
This is Madison, a girl who battled cystic fibrosis her entire life. After constantly getting sick as a baby and after numerous hospitalizations, she had a procedure called a sweat test done. It came out positive, meaning that she had a cystic fibrosis. After multiple treatments to treat the thick mucus being produced in her lungs, in 2011 she was hospitalized to treat the bacteria damaging her lungs. Her lung function had dropped to 33%. She was required to be on a breathing machine 24/7. And taking many supplements and antibiotics daily to clear her airways. She was later told that she needed a double lung transplant.
After years of looking for a donor for her transplant, she finally found a donor and received her double lung transplant. She was doing very well and her lung function went back up to 100%. But later on, she was told that there were more mucus forming in her lungs and that she needed another transplant. Unfortunately, Madison passed away at the age of 18 looking for her second transplant. Although Madison lost her battle with cystic fibrosis, her fight with cystic fibrosis has inspired many others and continues to inspire many others who struggle with cystic fibrosis. Currently, there are no permanent cures for cystic fibrosis, but thanks to today's technology, people with cystic fibrosis are living longer with daily treatments like antibiotics to treat chest infections, airway clearance machines and airway clearance therapy, and new medications like pancreatic enzyme supplements and multivitamins to thin out the mucus layer.
The cure for cystic fibrosis is still underway, But throughout the years, scientists are continuing to learn more and more about cystic fibrosis and its possible cure.
Thank you for watching our video on cystic fibrosis.